parents are very skeptical of loans for anything right now because they just are terrified of taking out loans for their children. So everyone needs to kind of get over that. So the one beautiful thing about the trades, all trades, is they're short in terms of you're not going to 4 years, you're going 1 year or less. And your total loans aren't going to be that much. When you get out, it might be $50 or $100 a month to pay it back in a very short time period.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much beauty in the beauty business.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I'm here with Lynelle Lynch. Thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
People locally might know you as the owner of the Running Y, one of the owners, but you have a whole lot of stuff that you do. If you picked a title for you, what would you tell me first?
Oh, goodness. That is a real difficult one. A person that loves to make a difference.
Okay. Tell me about some of the things you're involved in that make a difference.
Well, I started a charity about 14 years ago called Beauty Changes Lives. So one of the businesses that my husband and I are in and that I run is a chain of beauty and wellness schools that are based in California and Manhattan, Kansas, of all places. It was the first one that I was expanding until the federal government really put in heightened regulations. But I didn't know anything about that industry, but came to adore it. I got together an advisory board and said, how do you work with beauty schools? And they were like, we don't. We require 5 years experience. And I'm like, well, I'm going to change that. So that was one of my first projects of just kind of changing the entire ethos of a beauty college, adding a lot of advanced training, competitions, partnered with a lot of professional industries. But then the tragedy was seeing the students. I had a woman who was 60 who said I had to get a divorce and get my kids out of the house to finally pursue my passion. And I was like, that's it. I've had it. I need to change this. So the charity is called Beauty Changes Lives. And we started with an initial gift of $20,000. And my second gift was $1.5 million. But Elsa soon just passed on, and Procter & Gamble owned the rights to the name, and they wanted to do something in his memory. So we had 5 years of beautiful scholarships going out to individuals. So now we donate between $500,000 and $700,000 a year in scholarships all across the country. So anyone going to a beauty school pursuing aesthetics, massage, cosmetology, barbering, nails can apply for a scholarship. So that's definitely a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah. And they can do that at any school they're going to.
Absolutely. KCC has snagged me here locally. I'm chairman of their board of the cosmetology division, and I've helped them with their curriculum. And I'm proud to say they have a bachelor's degree program in cosmetology, I think the first in the nation. So they have really done a lot after they bought the local beauty college, and they're now breaking ground on a beautiful new facility. So yes, and the KCC students apply for our scholarships.
That's awesome. When I think about beauty school and then you say bachelor's degree, what are they doing to earn a bachelor's that's like above and beyond? I'm curious about that.
This is what is beautiful about our KCC. They look at what is in the best interest of that graduate. So you think of a typical associate or bachelor's degree, it's math and it's science and it's, the fundamentals of education. But to be successful as an entrepreneur, because most people in beauty and wellness become entrepreneur when they own their salon, et cetera. It's a lot of small businesses across the United States. So what they need to learn is they need to understand human resources. They need to understand marketing, inventory. So KCC spent almost 3 years in development of this degree to really identify courses and create courses that are really targeted and designed specifically for that entrepreneur that's coming out of beauty school. So they'll not only have the technical skills, but they'll have the beautiful entrepreneurial skills that will make them successful.
Yeah. I love that because it's not just about doing hair or nails or massage. There's a whole business you have to run and know how to do that part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool that they're setting them up for that.
And the exciting thing is it is all online. So anyone in the nation, and that's what I want, my next phase of helping them is to really broadcast that to all beauty colleges across the nation. There's 1,300 accredited schools. Why do I know that? Because I've been immediate past chair of the National Association of All Trades, career education colleges and universities, another volunteer opportunity. But it's the association that helps support all trade schools. So welding, nursing, you name it. But I really want KCC's program to be highly recognized throughout the country because it will allow entrepreneurs that want to take that next step to get their degree and learn all those wonderful skills of marketing and inventory, the exciting parts of running a business.
That's exciting. And you, if I understood correctly, you said about 14 years ago you started
The charity.
The charity. Were you involved in the beauty industry before the schools? How did you get involved in that?
Really. I was in the beauty industry back when I was age 14, as in those fashion groups that I was part of. I ran Saks Fifth Avenue as a general manager for multiple years. So beauty from that aspect. But my husband being the entrepreneur, when I married my husband, he had 30 businesses, primarily a lot of real estate across the United States. Yes, a resort, but it was in Lake Tahoe, a small one. And he owned 3 beauty colleges. And it was because a person in the family loved the beauty industry. So I was like, fine, I'll buy some beauty colleges, but didn't really know much about it. We used to just go to the Christmas party and that was about it. But the tragedy was the president running the 3 schools unfortunately passed away. And we got the call at 6:00 in the morning. And my husband says, I think the business that you're running now, you need to stop and go see if we should keep the beauty colleges, sell them, close them. That was my job. And instead, I made them the #1 brand in the nation. Within 2 years, we won the award for best beauty college in the nation. So,
how did you do that?
It was all because of that one advisory board meeting when all those people said, no, we require 5 years experience. I'm like, okay, then I'll change that. And they looked at me like the dumb blonde and said, good luck. You're not licensed. You're not from our industry. But, I think anything in life, when you really want to make a difference, you can. That's the beauty of America. You can change things. And all I had to do was learn the rules, recruit some top stylists, some top wellness people, and say, how do we build on our educational platform and add a little bit more time, but make it where that curriculum will be aspirational, and it'll also be where the top spas and salons will hire my graduates. So that same advisory board, 2 years after we had all the advanced programs and we'd won the #1 school in the nation, I had another meeting with them and I said, okay, so now what is your hiring practice? Well, we'll hire a Bellis Academy graduate or we'll require 5 years. I'm like, okay.
I love that. I think it's so cool that you were basically told no, and then you just decided that wasn't good enough. So you're just going to change the landscape. I think a lot of people stop at no.
I think a lot of people do.
And so that's probably one of the keys to your success. You've probably done that over and over in your life, I'm guessing.
Well, I think I tell our team always that, challenges are only opportunities. We all learn through failure, but if you don't figure out how to build on that and make it something better, you're not really living life to its fullest. So, and another thing we always say is, how do we get to yes? How do we get to yes at all times? Because no is such an ugly word.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to change people to have that, or train people, I'm sorry, to have that mindset that like see the challenge as the opportunity?
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
It's throwing it on the table every single time. So when someone comes to you with a problem, you throw back at a question so that they engage in the process. You open up the conversation, but what if? And just keep digging until you find the solution. But they already have it inside themselves to figure that out. And once you develop that kind of a mindset, then you have an inspired team that doesn't say no, that always finds a way to say yes. But there are definitely some that it's very hard to crack. But being part of a winning team is something that people really, really love.
Yeah. I agree. How many, I don't know what the structure is like, but how many people do you manage? I mean, how many people are involved in all these efforts that you have? How many teams are you building? Does that make sense?
Uh, yeah, it just depends on if it's the philanthropic side or the associations that I'm on. There's multiple ones. The two biggest are really the Running Y Resort and the schools where we have the largest amount of staff. My charity, I do have staff there, and all the other boards I sit on, there's obviously staff, but you're more in a advisory role, on some of the boards that I sit on.
Yeah. So then it's just a matter of finding the right people that have that philosophy you have
Yes.
and have that go down.
And it's all about asking open-ended questions and making people really think,
Yeah.
the whys, and not asking questions that people can say yes or no to, but where they really have to respond.
Hmm. I can see that. Did you ever think you'd end up in Klamath Falls? Was
No,
Klamath Falls
no.
even on your radar?
Um, we had a realtor because we loved the thought of having a resort where we could have a second home, or just have the resort be the second home and just come and enjoy, have our friends and family come. So we had been looking for maybe 3 years up and down the West Coast, anything out of California, because we just don't like the taxes there. But we had a broker that we were in Portland, outside of Portland, at a resort, and they told us about this. And both Bill and I came here, and I grew up in Colorado. So I grew up, as you love the fly fishing. So I grew up, my grandparents had a cabin in the hills outside of Denver, and it had an outhouse and running water. That was about it, and a coal stove. But this area has so much incredible outdoor adventure, and really, it's just spectacular. It's a beautiful community, very similar to where I grew up in Colorado. My husband's from Iowa, so he loves small towns. His town was about 3 blocks by 5 blocks, and next to Marshalltown, which still to this day has 20,000 people. So he's very, very at home in a small town, and really, it's fun to be a part of a community like this, because everyone really cares. You can tell that the leadership in this community has a great passion for this town. There's a lot of longevity. We're the newbies here, even though we've been here since 2012. That's still very, very young and new. We got our second home here in 2021, and before that, we were just kind of fly in, fly out. So now we've been dedicating more time here, but it's just a priceless town with beautiful people like you.
Well, thank you. The running why? What was it like to? Ha- Sorry, step back for just a minute. I think maybe you said you had a small resort in
Lake
Lake
Tahoe.
Tahoe, so you had some experience. But what was it like? What's it been like to learn how to run a resort?
It's been a lot, because it's not just a hotel, and it's not just a golf course or just a spa. There's so many aspects to the resort. And from the restaurant to all the way through the hospitality. So I always have been able to find really great mentors, and I have really good friends that are in the hotel industry, but not in the resort industry. So it is very different. But I think the beauty of what the Running Y has is a lot of history and a lot of beautiful amenities. So it's easy to promote that. It's easy to market it.
Yeah. And you've gotten involved at KCC and you're doing some cool things with their cosmetology. Do you see Running Y moving more into some kind of wellness or beauty element out there?
Absolutely. I'm part of the Global Wellness Institute, which is a international organization that Susie Ellis founded 15 years ago, I believe. And 5 years ago, she started an annual event called the Global Wellness Real Estate Event. And I've been attending that every single year. And there is a tremendous amount going on internationally, leaning into longevity. So we've gone from here's your spa, here's the term wellness. Now it's really all about longevity. And there's a lot of resorts that are leaning more in that direction. So I have been investigating a lot of different things. As you know, we have 3,600 acres. So we have so much rich amenities and land in which we could build different things or acquire partnerships with different wellness practitioners to go in that direction. This community already has so many incredible elements. In 2015, we were a blue zone. And that is one of the highest levels of wellness and longevity, because those zones are where people live the longest. And so there's been a lot of research and a lot of fundamentals there. Then you have our incredible Sky Lakes and the wellness village and the wellness aspects that they have. They have Healthy Klamath, they have the wellness center. So the community already has a built-in wellness aspect to it. So I just want to continue to identify partners, identify ways to make the resort have more of that wellness aspect to it. So thank you for asking. Yes.
Yeah. Are there things that in Klamath that beyond obviously the businesses or their providers, but are there things in Klamath that make us uniquely positioned for wellness type programs?
I think there's a lot of elements. The programs that I mentioned before are already there. The outdoor adventure and the ability to get out and mobilize and just enjoy the outdoor. The weather here year round has its beauty. It's not as frigid as some areas and it's not as hot as some areas. But the community has the emphasis on solar energy and clean water and a lot of things that I know are part of this community. There's a lot of organic agriculture that is done here. So there's fundamental elements that can all be pulled together to put a stake in the ground and say, this is why it got named a blue zone back in 2015. And I think it's going to take, though, a unification of the entire community, because everyone needs to lean into that positive side of why Klamath is a healthy place to live, why Klamath is a wellness community, and why it's a beautiful community. I know people can talk bad about a lot of different things. If they think that way, that's the direction they'll lean in. And if you focus on all the beautiful aspects that are here, then you have a different perspective. I know so many people, when I talk to them about why they have stayed here, why they live here, they can name off all the wonders of this community. And it's not just 300 days of sunshine. It's so many rich amenities that we have here.
It's easy to get lost. Don't know which path to take, what to post. In the social media jungle, video is king. Your kids are obsessed, your customers are addicted, we're all hooked, and social media sites prioritize videos. So when you're ready to stand out from the crowd, reach out to 40 Deuce Films. Feeling over everything.
Makes me think about, back many, many years ago when the Marine barracks were here and people came here to heal. I mean, do you know that history?
I don't know that. No.
So when Marines were coming back with tropical diseases, they got put here to heal from that. And I see a connection between wellness now and healing here with our, the temperature, the dryness, maybe the elevation. I think I just thought that was an interesting
I'd
connection.
love to learn more about the history there.
Well, we'll talk a little bit offline, but actually there was Marine barracks out on Old Fort Road. I believe that's where they were. And that's actually how a lot of people came to this community to heal. If you've ever met Lance and Austin LeSueur, Lance is the dad and Austin is his son. Austin was president last year of the chamber, but that's how they came here. Actually, they're 3 generations of Marines, and then they've stayed here, but Austin's grandpa came here for that. Anyway, that's a side note, but you might look into that because that's kind of a cool connection.
Very cool.
Yeah. You've got the running why, I want to bring it back to the beauty angle.
Okay.
So you said beauty changes lives, and I love that there's scholarships and there's that angle for how that could change somebody's life and they could go on and become an entrepreneur. But the name Beauty Changes Lives sounds like it might be even a little bit more than that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, Beauty Changes Lives was an event to start with.
Okay.
And it was I was on the board of the American Association of Cosmetology Schools, so that's a different association than the one that I'm currently just the immediate past chair of. But they wanted a public relations campaign. They had $50,000 and they said, Lynelle, we want like the Big Got Milk campaign. And I'm thinking, oh, give me a break. This group does not really understand what it takes to put on a national campaign. So I said, aha, I know all these top professionals. Ted Gibson was on this reality TV star of What Not to Wear, and the Vidal Sassoon top team, the Wella top team, the L'Oreal top team. I knew all of these different people. I said, what if I host an event at a theater? So it was at the Orpheum Theater in Phoenix, which is where our convention was, and a 1,500 seat theater. I produced an event on stage that was an hour long, where everyone stood up there and told their story about how they graduated beauty school, but then have gone on to da-da-da-da. I remember this one gentleman who was a massage therapist, and he said, I've massaged Madonna. I've made my millions, and it's all because I graduated from beauty school. And so I had this videotape. So what I wanted to do is give that to every beauty school across the nation. So when the parent came in and said, oh, my daughter is going to college, she's not coming to a beauty school, we could put that little video on, or, a short version of it. So the Beauty Changes Lives was something that just naturally came, I guess, just in terms of the word sounded beautiful to us, because the beauty career does change your life. It takes a lot of confidence and a lot of courage for a young man or a young woman to go to their parents and say, I'm going to go to beauty school. It's changing, but it's not to the point where we want it to be. The trades have definitely gotten more successful after people like Mike Rowe, who's been, he's focusing on the dirty jobs. We're the beauty jobs, I always fondly say, think about what an ugly world it would be without beauty professionals, but that wasn't my slogan. So but yeah, Beauty Changes Lives. It was a staged event. Mm-hmm. And that evening at the Hyatt, I remember to this day, Jan Arnold, who's the founder of Creative Nail, who helped me with this project. We went over there and there were all these CEOs of major brands, and they all kept coming up to us. We want to help you with your initiative. I'm like, that was an event. And so it took us a couple of years with our attorneys to form the 501c3. And then, as I mentioned, our first big gift was $1.5 million from Procter & Gamble.
I think it's interesting. I have never considered pushback a parent might give somebody who wanted to go into that industry. I haven't thought about that. Mm-hmm. That might be.
And right now, with the last few years, there was all the conversation on loan forgiveness. Parents are very skeptical of loans for anything right now because they just are terrified of taking out loans for their children. So everyone needs to kind of get over that. The one beautiful thing about the trades, all trades, is they're short in terms of you're not going to 4 years, you're going 1 year or less. And your total loans aren't going to be that much. When you get out, it might be $50 or $100 a month to pay it back in a very short time period. Mm-hmm. So there's so much beauty in the beauty business.
Yeah. And is it easier to get a job? Like you graduate, and is it easier than maybe other things to find a job in the beauty industry?
There are thousands and thousands of openings all across the nation. If you look at the chain salons, the Great Clips and the Supercuts and things of that nature, many of them have had to stop shortening their hours or closing on Sundays because they can't find enough staff. Oh. So, and there's so many opportunities. Graduates of ours can go work for a manufacturing company. They can become a platform artist. They can obviously open up their own salon. Booth rentals have gotten very, very popular. And it's easy once they learn how to market themselves. Mm-hmm. How many people do you see every day going through the supermarket, et cetera, where you could be passing out cards? Love your hair, but I'd love to try da-da-da-da-da,
Yeah.
Or your skin is so beautiful. I do hydrofacials. I'd love to have you come in and try a hydrofacial. Mm-hmm. There's just conversations that can happen and build your own clientele.
Absolutely. You mentioned they could get a job in manufacturing. What does that look like?
Well, there's products that are being developed all over, and there's many large manufacturers that manufacture the products that we enjoy. Mm-hmm. And many times those industries have educators. So someone who's a licensed professional has to be, or the educators have to be licensed professionals to go out and train other licensed professionals on how to use the products. And even back to my old retail days, if you didn't have your representative in the store or in the salon on a regular basis, that product just sat on the shelf. They needed to be inspired by the newest ingredients or what this is going to do for them, the talk track to give to their clients. So,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, our graduates are all over the place in different variety of different careers.
I'm always fascinated by the different careers that people can do with their background. I remember the first time I went into like a manufacturing facility. I had always thought about the person that was like on the line doing that one job, and there's so many other jobs. So that's why I asked that question. It's kind of fascinating. I always think about the person doing the hair or the nails or the facials or whatever. I haven't thought about working in a manufacturing facility. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and again, the licensed professionals are more on the road, out in the educational field, going to the professional shows, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's
But the
interesting.
sky's the limit. There's so many things and so many opportunities.
Yeah. How big is the beauty industry in the United States? Do you have any idea?
The last I read, it was 7.9 billion in just the hair color category. So, yeah, it's insane. So
Yeah.
I don't have all those numbers top of my head,
No, you
but
don't have to.
they're all in
That's a
the
big enough
they're all in
number.
the billions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No.
What have been some of the trends you've seen change in the last few years?
Oh my goodness. Well, eyelash extensions have become, way out there. Hair extensions. There's a lot that's being done in skincare with peptides right now. That's kind of the hottest trend. Hyaluronic acid is still one of the most important ingredients that makes your skin soft and silky and less dry. But there's always new advancements. The cryotechnology that's coming around now, there's cryofacials where you don't have to actually have the cryotherapy machine.
Oh.
But the chemists are constantly at it, identifying new formulas. I think you'll see a lot more in the hair thinning category. There's a lot more research and development that is happening there with new ingredients. And I'm not up to speed on what the ingredient side are, but there's a lot of innovation and it's constantly happening. I mean, you think about just the nail industry. I do give Jan Arnold 100% credit for how beautiful the nail industry is right now with nail art and accessories. She started Creative Nail 45 years ago. Her dad was a dentist, and her dad had a manicurist that came to get her teeth done. And she said, I just can't help the cracked nails. I don't know what to do. And he invented acrylic. And he gave it to his 5 children and said, here's this. I'm giving you no money. And Jan was all ready to become part of the fashion industry. She just loves fashion. If you've ever seen a picture of her, she's head to toe couture, crazy, beautiful, exotic. But she formed the company. And then 25 years ago, she went to Oscar de la Renta and said, your models are beautiful, but can I please do the nails? And now if I showed you some of the nail art, we just honored her with the Legacy Award this year. Incredible nails that are just pieces of art. She actually had an art exhibition in Oceanside with all of the 25 years of nails that she's done on incredible models. That they just glue on for that one outfit and then they take those off and put on another pair.
Dang.
But, the nails have become such an art and it's one of the most popular programs right now nationally. People are really understanding that it is art.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Thank you for your time today and sharing all of that information with us.
My pleasure. I think we talked about a little bit of everything.
I did, and it was really fun. I learned so many things, and now I'm going to go look for a picture of Jan Arnold so that I can see what you mean. I have some questions I ask everybody at the end of our episodes, but if I gave you $250,000 to make a difference in our community, what would you do with it?
Oh my goodness. Well, my passion is wellness, and I would really look to help bring more aspects of that to this community, to really make everyone rally and support and have pride. So a community outreach program to gain confidence and pride in their community. That would be a beautiful wish.
It would be beautiful. Do you have a role model?
Do I have a role model? I've had many over the years. I think Rosemary Bravo was one of my top. She was the president of Saks Fifth Avenue when I was 23, running a store. So that was someone that I always looked up to for how brilliant she was and strong as a woman.
Mm-hmm. Do you, if somebody was coming into town and you were planning the perfect Klamath Day for them, what would you do?
Oh my goodness. You wouldn't be able to do it all in one day.
I like that answer.
Oh goodness. Well, of course I would love to take them to play golf at the Running Y, then have a spa treatment. Then I would probably take them out to the zip line because I love that zip line. Then maybe an evening fishing trip just to get a little adventure,
Mm-hmm.
and top it off with a very elegant dinner at the Running Y.
I love it. That sounds
And
like a perfect day.
stargazing,
Yes,
because we have the dark skies and we have beautiful stargazing.
absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you to our producer, 40 Deuce Films.